Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Shima from Hakuhodo Kero. In this session, together with the CEO of BALMUDA Inc., Gen Terao, as a guest, we would like to talk about various topics. Good afternoon. My name is Terao. I'm sure that all of you are familiar with what BALMUDA creates. Terao-san is the CEO of BALMUDA Inc., and the company produces very innovative products. This is a fan, and a very natural wind can be created by a fan. That's what you thought, and you actually attached two layers of fans, right? Yes, so it's kind of like double structured. And this is my favorite toaster at my home as well. And when I toast my bread in this toaster, it tastes very good. I love croissant, and croissant is a kind of ambivalent food with very crispy outside and soft inside. But when you toast the croissant in it, yeah, it's the best. You can have the very best croissant with very crusty outside and fluffy inside. And when I thought of inviting Mr. Terao as a guest today, I was thinking of some of the great points about Mr. Terao. One is a fan or a rice cooker like this or a toaster. How can we create innovation to a category like this? Even though to those kind of categories, we wonder how to create innovation. He is actually creating innovation. That's what's great about him. Cooking rice in this rice cooker or toasting bread in this toaster. Through this experience, I realized what kind of experience have I had so far? That kind of feeling is what you are offering to your users, I think. And as a result, Terao-san's idea and the great design sense are actually shifting the electric appliance world. And that's the sort of topics we would like to talk today. Yes, you're great, Terao-san, because you used to be a musician, right? Yes. So from musician, you actually entered to electric appliance world? Not directly, though. So why did you think of producing electric appliances? Well, to give one word, it was just a natural consequence. I was not really thinking of anything particular. I was acting as a musician. In most of my 20s, I was seriously working to become a rock star. Who was your admired musician? Well, my favorite is Bruce Springsteen. And I wanted to become like him, but I couldn't. And I thought of this. When I was 17, I dropped out from high school, and over 1 year, I visited several countries like Spain and Morocco, etc. And when I came back to Japan, I was 18, and I thought, I could be anyone, seriously. And I felt I could choose whatever the future I wanted. Well, that sounds really cool. I wish I could say that. So it's free to choose, but whether you will be successful or not is a separate matter. So first, I wanted to become a novelist or a poet, and I thought that's kind of, not really fashionable. Then I decided to become a rock star. Okay, so you chose to be a rock star. Yes, I was young, and I spent 10 years to become a great musician, but I failed. And even now, what I'm trying to do is a creative war that is boiling in my mind. I want to turn this passion into a thing, and I really want to share empathy with other people. I'm thinking like this, and when my counterpart says, "Oh, I think so too," that kind of feeling is something I cannot even express with words. And because that's something I could not realize with music, now I'm doing the same by using hardware and technology to share my feelings with other people. So sharing empathy with music is easy per se. I mean, I don't want to upset the musicians, but now you are using electrical appliances to share the experience of enjoying delicious tasting rice and bread. That's very difficult, isn't it? Well, on the contrary, most of electric appliance companies were not doing that. That means it's easy. There are no competitors to us. Ah, because everybody is talking about technology, they're not talking about art. But what people really want is art. In other words, in the world, to people's eyes, there are things you can measure with numbers. There are other things that you cannot measure with numbers. And in most of the cases, I think what you cannot quantify is most important thing. How beautiful it is, how pleasant it is. If there's a beautiful person, it doesn't matter how much the person weighs. The great feeling is what's important to us. An electric appliance is a mere tool. And tool exists to support people's life. And a tool is supposed to provide something to be supportive to people's life. And in old world, I think just being helpful or supporting a functionality was good enough. But nowadays, everybody has everything. If we cannot sell a second washing machine to someone who already owns a washing machine. And they say that many electric appliance companies are having a hard time. That's because everybody already has everything they need. I see. So you cannot really adjust anything more in terms of specification about electric appliance. Yes, that's right. So I happened to quit working as a musician, and I decided to enter electric appliance room. And I think the beginning or the first step was design. At the time, there was a sort of new trend coming out, like drug design. And of course, there was an impact influenced by Apple. When I thought about it, I thought that maybe in this world I can do something even more interesting than what I was going to do in the world of music. Then you produced many, many products. Yes. And what I think is really great is this toaster. Why did you think of creating this toaster? Because I eat bread every morning. I see. So you're a bread eater, huh? Yes. You love bread? Well, I love toasted bread. Well, I love toasted bread as well. When I go to a cafe, every time I order a morning set breakfast and try to compare which cafe has the best toast. Yes, so I eat toast every morning. And I thought, this can be better for sure. That's what I thought. Let me talk about my old time. When I dropped out of the high school when I was 17, I left for Spain. And on the first day, in the south part of Spain, I was heading to a city of London. I left Narita airport and it took hours and hours to get to the city. And of course, I was alone there. And I had nowhere to talk about what kind of effort I had to make. To get there, and the pleasure of arriving there. And of course, I was kind of feeling insecure about what's going to happen. And there was a small bakery in the city of Ronda, and I purchased a small bread like this, and I had it in my mouth. And I was 17 then. I thought I was a great person. I was able to come to this place on my own, and I thought that I was a courageous person. But also, I was really scared. And in the middle, there are lots of worries and concerns. And at that point, I felt like maybe I was not as courageous as I thought. And then, like, I was kind of doubting of my belief about myself being a courageous person. But I was hungry, so I had the bread, and I burst into cry. I I was just crying and crying, and there was one thing that was clear to me. Food goes away once you eat it, but that's not true. If you eat a piece of bread, the energy gets to you, and then the energy will keep you alive. So that is the power of food, and that is about living. And because of that experience, usually I don't really realize it, but food is a great thing. That's what I had in my mind all along. Of course, if you're crying every time you have breakfast, if you're crying, you cannot go to school or work. But then, I thought like if the bread I enjoy in the morning can be improved just a bit better, that would probably make my life better. I think that was 2014. We had pretty good engineers at BALMUDA by then, and we had various knowledge and experiences about technology. I thought that we could offer much better tasting toast to my users. So when you told that means that you are talking to engineers. Okay, I want to offer this great tasting toast, right? But the taste of toast is something abstract, isn't it? Were you able to actually communicate it well to the engineers? Yeah, that's why we had to conduct researches. At the beginning, I just had an image that I wanted to offer heart-moving, delicious toast, and I had to kind of transfer that to numbers. The phenomena that bread turning into a toast. Bread and a toast is different, right? Yes, the colors are different and their colors are different, they feel different, and there is a such thing called the Mayoral phenomena, and this phenomena happens at 180 degrees, and a toast starts to burn at 220 degrees, and the carbohydrate turns into alpha at 50 degrees. What do you mean by alpha phenomena? Well, the carbohydrate gets softer at 50 degrees. And bread, 1 or 2 days after bread is being baked, some of the moisture gets disappeared, and this alpha phenomena actually bring back the moisture to the bread. And then the toast reaches 180 degrees, the color turns into brown, and at this time there are about 30 chemicals on the surface of the bread, and the 30 chemicals actually increases into 100 different kinds because of the Mayoral phenomena, and this actually caused to improve the flavor and aroma of toast. And the same phenomena occurs to steak as well. So with this Mayoral phenomena, you see beautiful color and beautiful aroma, and there is sufficient moisture inside, and outside is very hot. So this is kind of similarities to the delicious food that's being baked. Same is applicable to takoyaki balls as well. I see. So you actually explained to the engineers how bread turns into great tasting toast by explaining the procedure with chemical language. Yes, and there are some successes and failures as well. Even though I had a clear goal, it was sort of coincident that I actually was able to achieve the great taste. When I was thinking of this toaster, we had a barbecue party at the Koganei Park that was nearby the office. However, it was very, very strong rain on the day. And we said, well, it's going to be a great memory. So let's do it. Let's have the barbecue in the heavy rain. So we went to this barbecue place. Nobody was there. Of course not, because it was raining really heavily, right? Yes, so I guess we didn't look very great or having fun from other people. And one of the members actually brought bread.
焼いてみましょう。
So we baked with the charcoal, and it was taste so great. It tastes so great, and it was so hot, and it was just unexpected taste. And the Bermuda toast need to reach this, so it was coincidence that with this the rainfall barbecue. And then from next day, we utilize the same griller and they start experiment utilizing charcoal toasting. However, we couldn't reach that taste that we experienced at the barbecue. And it took us 1 week, and then it was pouring rain, right? Some employee mentioned. So we realized that the water content is important. So utilizing this, we pour water here. We pour the 15 cc water, and it goes into the boiler, and that the water will evaporate and then creates the water film, and then the heater control starts. And in other words, the surface of the bread starts baking first, and that's the feature of this. And then afterwards, and the heating control starts like other ordinary toaster. And because the surface of the bread is already nice and crisp, so the water contents will not evaporate, and therefore it still has the water and the butter in it, and it's still moist, nice and moist. So thanks to the barbecue at in the pouring rain, so we recreated the same environment that as the rain barbecue. We toasted 5,000 piece of breads. However, when for some reason, person in charge of that start to lose weight, also maybe it's a toaster diet. So this one, thanks to the camping experience, because you like to convey that particular taste that you happen to experience in the barbecue. So that's empathy is the basis of your motivation. It's not just, maybe it's a strong recommendation rather than empathy, because I thought that's great, so I would like to strongly recommend this to someone. So maybe that's the motivation. Because I cannot bring every single person to experience the barbecue under the pouring rain. So therefore, we basically do not do all those market surveys. Our motivation for the creation for the new product is to achieve the taste that you experience. When people criticize us that so we are such a selfish group of people, but then I would ask you, when you do the marketing survey and before you collect the people's voice before the launch of the product, can you believe in all those voices that you collected during the survey? I don't think you cannot believe yourself and you cannot believe the results of the survey. However, if you listen to your own voice, you think, oh, well, you can just give it up. That's your instinct, and it's just a responsibility. However, you just follow the market survey results, and if end up with the disaster, and then you just are not happy about it, because unless otherwise you believe in yourself, what else you can believe in? So that's the basis. So maybe people still criticize me. It's just a selfish. We are not just meant to be selfish. It's rather, or as for the BALMUDA, this is the project. It's a very, very important project for me. The only person who cannot stick to it's something that, well, of course, every single product has the risk, and we never launch a product that we are very certain this will sell. Because when we launch the new product, we are not still sure if this will be the success. However, at least we take responsibility for whatever we launch. At the BALMUDA, this is the very unique thing about BALMUDA. You quit as a musician and you enter into the home electronics industry, and you said that design is a key. So, as you said, what is the point that you stick to regarding the design perspectives? We said is that the fan or the air conditioners or these air-related products are our strengths to begin with. And when we start with the kitchen home electronics, at the beginning, it should be the modern, sharp, and simple, and it was not that easy. If you just stick to the modern, simple, and easy, it just looked like a printer for the kitchen. Even if that's a kitchen tools, it shouldn't look like a printer. And if you produce the toast out of that, the printer like home electronics machine, it doesn't look good. So in the event, what would you like to do with this kitchen tool? The purpose of creating this new product is that to create the superb toast. So it does not come from the design. Rather, how do we look more delicious? So we decide where to begin with. It's like a witch's delivery. There is a grandma there living. There is a grandma living in a house, and there is a stone oven there, and that the pizza oven, the stove oven, look really, really attractive to us. So that's the design that we are going to follow. So if that stone stove or the stone oven becomes the toaster in the modern world, what should that be? What about the sound, the timer, and the light? It's somewhat very comfortable experience that we always have. Yes, we stick to that too. In the end, in order for our customer to eat the superb toast, for us, we are focusing rather on the experience rather than things. If you like to focus on wonderful experience, you don't need the product. Some people criticize us. However, well, on the TV, for example, when you watch the reporters just reporting the typhoon, we are watching the TV. However, it's not an experience. We do not experience the raindrops, or we do not smell any typhoon. when you do the experience, you need to use all of your five senses. You have to look it and listen to it and touch it and smell it and utilize all five senses. So, for eating, is the very rare experience that you utilize all five senses. As for the home electronics, unless otherwise you won't be able to see the toaster, we won't do the designing because you don't need it. However, you like to see, I think the taste itself will be changing due to the design. And you listen to the timer's sound and utilize all those five senses and that approach to the products, and the experience quality need to be best. So that's our basis of our idea. So as for the design, it's somewhat the design. If the toast comes from that particular design, that should look that delicious. And so the same story applies to the sounds and the lights as well. So you listen to when you do the experiment, yes, we in the company, it's just it smells like a toast 24 hours, and it's such a nice aroma. So how successful is that, right? It is several hundred thousands units that we sold. In the home electronics, it is said that the late entrant it's not easy industry for the late entrants that in general. Have you experienced that? When we started, well, we like to do the hardware, some hardware, like, we already assemble all those the X base, and they start with the desk light, and the Lehman shock comes, and we are about to bankrupt at the time. And it was the 45 million and the 10 million red and the 10 million red ink. And we are the company of 3 people in 2009, and we do not accept any order for 1 month. And we thought we are about to bankrupt. So, okay, let it go. And then, so maybe the last project is somewhat that we really, really like to do. And that project was the fan. We already had some kind of concept, however, and we thought that we need to come up with the very creative fan. Because of the scale of the size of the company, and we are about to bankrupt, so it is just a last-minute development before we bankrupt. But for some reason, it was a great success, and so we created all those other circulators and all those the air cleaners. But you still need the engineers, and you need the sales channel, and you need the plants and so on. You have to start with the scratch. Well, so what sort of challenges have you experienced? Well, the funding and the designing and the communications and sales channels, and we experienced all the challenges everywhere. And I published the book, and Iko Dokoka ni from Shinchosha. And it's only if you give me 4 hours and 50 minutes, then I'll share with you. However, we only have a 45 minutes slot. Well, if you are serious about it, you'll be able to do it even if you are the first learner. For our company, we are the advertising company, and we are focusing on the bookstore, or we publish the magazines, which we usual conventional advertising company do not do. Well, we said, if you like to do it, do it. And if you do it, you'll be able to do it. You never know. Yeah. As for the home electronics, yes, it is said that it is a very high barrier for the late entrant. However, this is the actual successful example. And also, our competitors only focus on the things or products. Rather, the consumers are more care about the arts, and they are more talking about the technologies and so on. So we are advantageous. For Mr. Terao, you are focused more on like art and this experience and the delicious toast and this moment. These are the things that you like to realize. However, your competitors or the engineers are basically talking about the spec, and probably these are typical people. However, the BALMUDA, the employees.
So among your employees, are they actually able to connect art and technology in their conversation? Or rather, they are the only people we have? Well, let me explain something. Most of the engineers have to actually have exercise grade technology. But when we ask them what they want to do, most of them say that I want to excite people. That's what they say. So at the end of the day, I think most of the engineers want to appeal to the senses of the people. And I think rather it's the management who does not have that kind of notion. Oh, I see. So engineers already had this kind of feeling that they want to excite people, and you are kind of like releasing their feeling in their own team. Yes, I often think this way. A company is is the only pipeline between the employees and the society. For example, software engineers write codes, but how many codes they write? It's totally useless. They have to have hardware to run the codes, and you have to have electronic board. So you have to have someone in charge of circuit and hardware. And even before that, you have to have someone in planning, and you have to have someone for communication and sales. And then it gets to the consumer finally. So it is a company which utilizes all sorts of people to deliver something we want to deliver to the consumers. And of course, the company cannot do anything without consumers. But in short, I guess the company and employees support each other. I think the bigger the company is, the more people tend to only think about what he does or what she does and start to forget about what the company is doing as a whole. So, but I guess in your company, you can still have a kind of perspective from a single team. Well, we are still a small company and we are trying. That's the situation. And now, it is a part of our title today, but this is the latest product of your company after the toaster, which is a rice cooker. Why rice cooker? Well, after all, because we are Japanese, it was quite natural to produce a rice cooker as Japanese. But what we paid attention in developing this product was that there's no cooked rice consisting of rice alone or like a meal with only rice. When people say like, "What do you want to eat tonight?" They say, "Oh, I want broiled fish or stir fried meat." They talk about the main dish. So I think people really enjoy the main dish, and I think rice is something to kind of help the main dish taste better. And of course, we can give extra flavor or aroma to rice, but I think, how can rice make the curry taste better? or when rice is mixed with the main dish, how can rice enhance the overall taste? That's what we paid attention. So we are not trying to produce one great bowl of rice, but we wanted to produce a great tasting meal. That's what we try to achieve. Could you explain what's unique about the way it cooks? The pots, actually, we use two pots. Usually, you use one pot containing water and rice, and you use electricity. But in this case, you just fill the outer pot with water, and for inner pot, you put rice and water. And it's kind of similar to the concept of toaster. The rice cooker actually heats the outer pot alone, and it creates hot steam, and the steam cooks the rice. And with this mechanism, you can cook the rice without moving the rice too much, and by holding the great taste of rice inside of each grain. I tried the cooked rice made from this rice cooker as well. And it tastes great to be enjoyed with a bowl of soup. And also, when the rice gets cool, it tastes very good. Yes, it does, but I don't know why. Even the rice is cold, it tastes very great. It tastes very great. This is just coincidence. We didn't try to make that happen. So at the beginning, you were thinking of like double layer pots and using steams, and then it will not shake the grains of rice too much, and the cooked rice will turn to be good tasting one. But the fact that cold rice tasting great was out of your calculation. Yes. That's right, it was. And this rice tastes great mixed with raw eggs as well. That's true. Not just like a taste of soy sauce or the great taste of the fat contained in other food. I wanted in my mind, great rice, great cooked rice is something that wears this kind of great taste of coming from other food and just jump into your mouth. So when you are developing this rice cooker, was there something you try to achieve, like the case of the toaster? Well, we really had lots of problems in the development. We said, well, as long as a consumer can enjoy great tasting, delicious rice, that's what we want, right? And that's what we're saying. And we thought it appears that if we change the way we cook, well, they said that, the more expensive the rice is, the better tasting it is. And my engineer said, Mr. President, all we need to do is to purchase expensive rice. That's what he said. So we tried all kinds of rice cookers, and our consequence is that expensive rice tastes good. And then we actually headed to frozen rice. We were thinking why don't we actually develop great tasting frozen rice? And we actually spent 3 months to develop frozen rice. And we went to look at various freezing technologies, and we did various experiences as well. And we actually came up with the very best tasting frozen rice. And when we microwaved it, but then we said, well, but still freshly cooked rice tastes better. So you try to come up with ultimate tasting frozen rice, but you realized that the freshly cooked rice is better. Yeah. So when it's cooked and you open the lid and fluff it with a paddle and enjoy the rice, that's a very tasting rice for us. So after 3 or 4 months, we realized that, okay, we go back to the development of rice cooker for freshly cooked rice. I see. So we did a planning, and in our case, communication planning started at the time, such as communication and how to use web page and main communication and temporary tentative printing work started. Yeah, and so you are almost finished. You are very close to the launch of frozen rice. Yes, we were, but that was canceled. That's what we do. I see. So anyway, when you open the rice cooker, you enjoy the aroma of freshly cooked rice. Yes, and all the grains of rice are not actually like standing upright and they are in perfect shape. That's something you can never offer in frozen rice. Okay, so you kind of came back to rice cooker. So what's next then? Are there something you are trying to achieve at the BALMUDA after this one? As I said before, I'd like to maximize the empathy. And that's what I devote my life for. It's kind of like, my rock band. And I want this rock band, my company, to sing to the world. But, everything has to follow the sequence. So I think we are still in the middle of the process. That's how I feel. As I said, experience more than a physical thing. And at this point, our business is in good status. We would like to launch several products in the kitchen area. We will be launching 2 products this year and another next year, as well as air conditioning related products are currently being developed. And as for this new kitchen products, you think experience is important. So the sound as well as design should be appealing to the 5 senses. Well, some of the products are not electric appliances. What is that? At the beginning of the next month is the launch timing. Or what is it? I'd like to know. What is it? Well, at the beginning of next month. Please wait. Okay, so let's look forward to it then. Okay, we still have 3 minutes left, so we would like to open to the floor. Do you have any question from the audience to Mr. Terao? Are there any questions to Mr. Terao? This is a great opportunity. Well, nobody likes me, huh? Nothing? Oh, okay. Thank you very much. In your development, the uniqueness of BALMUDA, I'm sure that you offer ideas and your employees offer ideas. But do you have a definition of what BALMUDA is or what BALMUDA is not? Well, right now, I think there's only one thing people want, because this is the society of diversity and everybody has different ideas. But there's one thing that everybody wants as our hypothesis. That is a great life. Don't you want it? Great life? I want it. And to attain a great life, everybody is working. And I think this is the value that every single person would agree with. And of course, we are selling tools, and we cannot offer a great life to our consumers. But by improving every single experience moment, we can sort of indirectly offer a great life by accumulating a moment of great experience. So when we develop something, we always give a tagline of a wonderful such and such. And then we put the graphic of the product, and then we look at the tagline and the graphic side by side. And tagline has to include a phase regarding time, such as for your wonderful summer or for your wonderful morning. And then you may have a camera, like a camera or bicycle, motorcycle, or old used guitar. Then, we see if it works well or not. It's very difficult to find a great match. Okay, thank you very much. Well, that kind of concept of trying to come up with a tagline starting from wonderful something, a great something, that's great. Yes, it works well. Okay, the time has come today. So in this session, let's improve some kind of life, which is a part of people's life. And that concept, Mr. Terao, who is trying to permeate this kind of concept by offering electric appliances. Mr. Terao, thank you very much.